Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here and joining us again on another section of Expert Sessions. Bienvenidos. Thank you so much. I am Vanessa, and I am the founder of Latino World Travelers and also creator of the Latino Travel Fest, which we are actually hosting on May 31st to June 2nd. So I hope you all join us because it's going to be amazing. A lot of connections you're going to be able to build with your community. We're going to have very interesting sessions, just like this one, where you're going to learn not only about how to travel the world better, cheaper, more confidently, but also how to monetize your travels. So if you're looking to become a content creator or influencer or journalist in the travel industry, this is the place for you. Make sure you join us. And also you'll have the opportunity to meet brands and the destination marketing offices, organizations. So make sure you join us so you can learn more and live better traveling the world. So with us, we are first going to make sure we mute ourselves so we make sure we don't interrupt the speaker, but you're welcome to use the chat to ask any questions throughout. There will also be a Q&A after the presentation, and replays will be available on our YouTube channel within 24 hours, so you can replay it how many times you want. And also you can share with your friends because sharing is caring, and we all need to know this information that Orlenda is going to share with us today, because if we put in order our finances, we can travel like a lot more. So we are excited for that. And our goals with these expert sessions are not only to spark your curiosity for travel. As you can see, she's going to share her experiences traveling different parts of the world and how she did it, but also empowering you with a wealth of resources and strategy so you can travel, like I mentioned earlier, more, better, cheaper, more confidently, and ultimately diversify the face of travel, which is my big mission, to make sure we see more people who look like us. So thank you so much for being here. Now I'm going to introduce you to Orlenda Cortez from Pero and her talk is going to be, her presentation is going to be about money tips to prepare for your dream vacation in 9 months. So let's see, where will you be in 9 months? Orlenda, take it. This is all yours, the floor.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. I'm so excited to be adding to your mission, and I can't wait to see more Latinos traveling the world. So let me share my screen. Welcome, everyone. So exciting to see you all here. Okay. Setting myself up. Okay. So I am going to be talking about how to prepare for your dream vacation in 9 months. And if you're wondering why 9 months, it was just a random number. So if like your birthday is coming in 6 months and you want to switch it to 6 months, we'll talk about that, how you can do that, or if you're thinking a year. So we'll definitely do that. And I wanted to highlight as a beginner, like how to prepare as a beginner, because there are a lot of tips out there, and a lot of it has to do with travel hacking. Well, if I don't know about you, but I get very overwhelmed with travel hacking. And one, it's overwhelming. And two, what if we don't have the discipline with credit cards yet? And instead of using a sign-on bonus, we are getting more debt. And so we're kind of defeating the purpose. So I want to share more tips with you all on how you can travel the world that doesn't necessarily have to be travel, the point system and travel hacking. So, housekeeping. It will be around 60 minutes. I know we're starting a little bit late. And so we'll get on it. I invite you to participate at your comfort level. Okay. So if you're taking this at your desk, feel free to take me to the couch, to your bed, wherever you can take the information more comfortably. Please do that. Questions are welcomed throughout the presentation, so feel free to raise your hand or place it in the chat and I will get to your question as soon as I can. And I see that you, Elizabeth, are coming from New York. Oh my God, another person from New York. I am in Washington State, so on the other side. Grace, feel free to drop it in the chat where you're calling in from. Okay, what are we covering today? One, how travel helped me pay $30,000 in consumer debt. So yes, you are going to be able to travel and build a self-trust so that after you come back from your travels, you can take on any other money goal that you have. Two, we're going to visualize your dream vacation. And I cannot wait to hear what that is for you. And three, 5 steps to plan for your dream vacation in 9 months. And then, as Vanessa shared, we'll do a Q&A session. So by the end of this session, I want you to walk away with actionable steps to take your dream vacation and have it paid before your flight takes off. And your dream destination will be your fun why, because whenever you are saving for this vacation and you're like, I want to go out to eat or I want to buy this item. And it's like, okay, do I want to postpone my trip a little bit more? Or you can remind yourself that, okay, well, I want to go to Italy. I want to go to Japan. And so that keeps you more focused. And this fun why, yes, you'll take your dream vacation and then you can choose another destination. And that can always be your fun why of how you stay motivated. And it can help you reach other money goals because if you're debt free, then you can travel more. Okay, a little bit about me. My name is Orlenda. I was born in Guatemala and I came here at the age of 10 years old, San Francisco to be exact. And I was undocumented until the age of 21. I was still going to college and I remember coming home and receiving my social security number when I was 21, around 21. And I always remembered growing up hearing you need credit, a good credit to apply for loans, to buy a house, to get a car. And I was a great student. I'm still a great student. So I was like, yes, okay, I am going to get good credit. So I applied to a bunch of credit cards, not knowing how they work. So not knowing how to manage my money, and two, how credit cards work. And in a few years, I want to say maybe like 3 years, I found myself in $30,000 in debt. Very stressed, very anxious, couldn't sleep, and I couldn't do the fun things I wanted to do. So part of me was, okay, well, if I increase my income, then I can pay off this debt because in my brain was more money, then I can send it to debt. But I still didn't know how to manage my finances. And so I increased it one time, but guess what ended up happening? I increased my lifestyle too. Then I said, okay, I'm going to do it again. And it happened again. And then a third time. And I wish that was it. But I increased it 3 times and I still wasn't able to pay off my debt. So I fast forward to 2017. Yep, spent it. Someone said spent it on the chat. Yes. So fast forward to 2017, my boyfriend at the time proposed. And I've never been the type of person to say, oh, one day I'm going to get married. One day I want my wedding like this. Never. But here I was, and I had the travel bug. And so I said, how cool would it be if I did a destination wedding? Something I did know was I do not want to get in more debt for this wedding. Like I want to pay it out of pocket. I don't want to increase the debt and the anxiety and stress that I felt. And so that's what we did. We buckled down with my husband, and it took him 10 months to find a new job that increased his income by $30,000. And then it took me about a year and 1 month to increase my income by around $38,000. And so then at that period, we had about 11 months, 10 months left to get married. And we started sending all the extra money to pay for a wedding. And that's how we got married in Costa Rica. Had family and friends come, and we ended up doing our honeymoon in Bali in Japan. So in around 9-10 months, we ended up saving around 40K. Mind you, I was young. If I was older and I had to do it again, I probably wouldn't spend that much on a wedding. But at that time, it was amazing. And so, yeah, we ended up doing that. This photo I have here is I traveled with my wedding dress, and I had it cleaned, and they did the best that they could. And you could see a little bit on the bottom is a little bit dirty because I took photos at a beach in Costa Rica. So it was an amazing time. But guess what happened? I came back from my honeymoon from Japan and Bali, and yeah, I had to face reality. I still had the debt, and it was like the stress and anxiety was crippling in again. I was like, oh, you rested, but now here we are, we need to clean this mess. So I decided to use the same methods I was using that I'll go over in a sec to pay off my credit cards. And I was able to become debt-free in a year and a half. So I always say having a fun why always helps you stay focused on your money goals. And number two, you build the self-trust, okay, with money that yes, you actually can. But what happens is when you're trying to pay off debt, it's like you're dragging your feet because it's not exciting, it's not fun. But if we can get over that, if we become debt free, then what does that do? Then that allows us to travel more. Okay. So with that, I want to hear about your dream vacation. And if you came here with an idea already, drop it in the chat where you would like to go. If you don't have an idea, I want you to take 2 minutes and think about what vacation would you take? Where would you want to go? Would it be a tropical or city vibes? What do you want to wake up to? What do you want to eat? Who's going with you? Or is this a solo trip? So take some time, and I'd love to know. Someone said Europe. Where exactly in Europe? Oh, okay. The more details you have about your dream vacation, the more realistic it becomes. So I invite you to think about the little details. Hey, Paris, France. I love that. I've never been. Elizabeth, what food did you eat in Paris that you liked? Oh, we have someone that their dream vacation is Antarctica. Oh, yes. After Vanessa's workshop about her trip to Antarctica. I love that. Oh my goodness, croissants. Yes. I love that. Thank you all so much for sharing. Oh, mine. Okay, so I have this plan of living in Italy for about like 6 months and taking my dogs in a private plane. So we'll have to like drive from the West Coast to the East Coast, and then private planes are going out from over there with other families that have dogs as well, so that it isn't as expensive. So that's my big dream. I love it. Thank you all so much for sharing. Okay, so when you're specific, this becomes your fun why. So whenever you're saving, whenever you're paying off debt, and you can always remember what is your dream vacation that you want to take, and what does paying off for debt or saving would allow you to do. Okay. So you have two options when you are traveling. You can, one, decide last minute and pay more than you have, and then you come back from your trip, and then you still have to pay off that debt. So if you went to somewhere, a beach somewhere, then all the rest you did, and you come back to more debt. So, or two, you can plan ahead and pay off the trip before your flight takes off. Yes, I love that, Grace. Grace says she plans ahead. Okay, so we're going to start with the 5 tips. And number 1 is to set a realistic budget for the trip. Okay, so after you have already paid your bills, all of your credit cards, and everything that you have to pay, then you have this extra cash, this disposable cash. How much of that do you have available? Okay, it's important to know that number. And number 2, then you start researching the trip expenses. Okay, so flights, accommodation, transportation, meals, activities, souvenirs, anything that you want to spend on, you research and see how much all of that is going to cost you. Okay, something I've been adding to mine is an like emergency fund for my trip. It's like a savings, because you never know what might happen. Let's say there's like a delay somewhere and I have to get an extra night at a hotel. Like that wasn't in the plans. But what I don't want is to come back to debt. So how can I position myself better so that I can plan ahead for these type of things, right? So this is where you divide it into manageable monthly goals. So let's say I want to go to Puerto Vallarta, and I added everything, and that's going to be 3,240. If I plan on traveling in 9 months, then I divide that by 9, and monthly I have to save 360 a month. Okay. Any questions, drop them in the chat or raise your hand. Okay, so what's your take on vacation on going? What's your take on going on vacation while paying down debt? I believe that you can prioritize fun and pay off your debt, and that makes it manageable. What I don't want is for you to have a repayment plan and have it so restrictive, because what ends up happening is you start paying off the debt. Let's say you're going 3 months strong and you're not taking any trips, you're not going out to eat, and you're cutting down everything. Then guess what? At the 4th month, or before or later, and you're like, oh my God, I want to spend. And so you go on this like rampage and you spend, then you might gain all of that debt back. So I say that if you can plan for fun in your budget, that's going to help you in the long run. Thank you for that question. Once you have the number to save monthly, And you cannot meet it. You're like, okay, 360, that is way too high for me. Then here's what you can do to lower that monthly goal, saving goal. One, you can change the destination or dates to lower flights or hotel, how much that is. So for example, this past December, I wanted to go to Japan. That was like $3,000 in just flights. So that wasn't going to work for me. So I decided to do Puerto Vallarta instead, and I saved money. So now Japan is gonna have to wait a little bit, but I'm saving a little bit each time. So it doesn't feel like so heavy, and I'm not accruing debt. The other thing is maybe changing it to low season. Okay. Yeah, off season. Exactly. It's cheaper. Let's say maybe you don't mind a little rain, then you can change it to off season, because high season, everybody's traveling there. Thank you, Grace. Let's say 9 months is not going to work for you, then you can extend that to 12 months. Yeah. Yes. Elizabeth always travels off season. Love that. I do too. You can extend from 9 months to 12 months. And if 12 months is still a little high, then maybe 15 months, right? Other ways to reduce costs could be, instead of a hotel, maybe you can do an Airbnb. When I was starting to travel, I used to do like a room only. And sometimes some Airbnbs have a little like either cottage or a little in-law on the side that you don't see anyone. That is cheaper sometimes. Maybe instead of doing Uber, you can do shuttle or public transportation. And maybe if you're a foodie, right? How about maybe instead of 3 meals at restaurants, maybe 2 could be restaurants, and then maybe one of them could be street food. So those are some ideas to cut a little bit of the costs so that you can meet a monthly goal that feels good to you. Okay, number 2 is creating a travel sinking fund. And so if you're, for example, let's say you are banking with Chase, you have Chase checking. You are expensive. Yeah, and that's fine because you already know how you like to travel. I love that. And so so when we're thinking about Chase debit card, and then you have a savings with them and you're putting your money in that savings, if you find yourself somewhere where you want to spend, it's very easy to transfer money from that savings in Chase to your checking. So to help you a little bit better, why not create a separate savings where your travel money goes to? Okay, so it's not easy to have access to it. I would recommend a high yield savings account because that's going to earn you a little bit of money while it's sitting there for, let's say, the 5 months, the 9 months that you have it. And it will help you stay focused as well, instead of a regular savings account. Yes, Elizabeth, do not lose money. I mean, do not leave money on the table. Okay. And number 3 is, oh, one thing. Let me tell you a little story about this paddle boarding in Washington State. I joined one of Vanessa's vision boarding workshops that she has. And I came on and I said, Vanessa, I want to move, girl. I want to move out of San Francisco. And that literally put a fire in me to say, you know what, I can actually do this. And I started researching. I didn't know where I was going to end up, but I ended up in a Washington State. And now I have a lake almost in my backyard. It's like 5-minute drive versus in San Francisco was about 2 hours away, a whole day thing. Anyway, thank you, Vanessa. Okay, so 3. Is trimming unnecessary expenses while you try to meet your goals. Okay, so what does that look like? Maybe it could be eating out less for the meantime to find more extra cash to put into your savings. Or maybe it can look like canceling or pausing subscriptions that you already have. Sometimes we're paying for all of these things and we forget. We forget that we're paying for these. It's like, I haven't watched Netflix in so long. Let me just cancel this. Or if you're not ready to cancel, you can just pause it too. And then find like little ways. You can negotiate bills or switch providers. Let's say it's a phone bill, okay? And AT&T is charging you way too much. What is the competitor offering that you would be willing to jump ships? You can go back to AT&T and say, are you willing to match? Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But now you know, and you can make that decision of, okay, yeah, I'm going to move somewhere else and then save this much money. And then that extra cash, you send it to your sinking fund, to your savings for travel. Yes, I love that. Okay, Vanessa's pausing a lot of subscriptions already and is setting money dates with husband. I love that. Elizabeth says she is shocked when I started looking and found so many subscriptions I didn't even remember I had. Yes. So this is your reminder to look at your statements and see what is being charged to your card that you're no longer in alignment with. Okay. And then cutting those. Perfect. Okay. Exactly. Okay, someone said I'm a senior, so I ask for discounts wherever I go. Yes, I love that. Ask for those discounts. When I was a student, I was getting discounts left and right. I'm a student. Do you give discounts? Sometimes it was a yes, sometimes it was a no, but a lot of them were yeses. Yeah. And they sometimes don't say it also, right? You have to ask. So love that tip. Okay, this is where the needle is going to move, okay? We can trim all the expenses and there's just like so much that can come out of it. But increasing your income is where it's going to move the needle for you. Exactly. If you ask, all you get is a no, nothing happens. But what if they do say yes? So always ask. Love that. So increasing your income will help you boost your sinking fund and reach your goal a lot faster. So what can that look like? And it could be taking a part-time job. Maybe that's babysitting. Maybe Uber Eats on top of your 9 to 5. What is something that you can do in the meantime to meet the goal that you're working towards? Monetizing a hobby or a skill. Okay. We all have skills we can monetize. Okay. Like if you know how to dance bachata, then you can do private classes. You know how much they were charging me for private classes? They're charging me between like $75 to like $90 per session an hour. Imagine that. So you can do so you can monetize a hobby or a skill. And then the fourth one is negotiating your pay at work. Okay. So let's say you've been there for a long time and you haven't received a raise. And you start doing your research and you see that the market rate for that same role that you have is a lot higher. Okay. Because if you've been there for a while, we tend to stay behind. And the people that come on later on are getting paid a lot higher. But nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about it. Okay, so if you do that research, then you can start negotiating pay at work. Let's say you ask, so going back to asking, and that just reminds me, I try to remove the word like negotiate whenever I'm talking to anyone, and to help myself. If I go into the conversation thinking, I am just going to ask, then that helps my nervous system be more calm. Okay. Versus say, negotiate. I'm going to go negotiate. That just has like a little, starts to make you feel very nervous. Okay. But what if you just asked for a raise? And if they say no, then now you know, and you can make that decision. Do I want to stay with the rate that I'm currently at? Or do I start looking for another job? And I would say if you're looking for other jobs, make sure that your salary is a lot higher, because this is the time to start moving the needle. You don't want to be at the same salary band when you move, because then it'll be the same cycle where we need extra cash. And then let's say you raise your salary by 15K, 20K plus, and you reach your money goal of saving for your dream vacation. Now you can decide, do I want to continue this side hustle? Or if you negotiate and you have this extra cash, what can I do now with that extra money? And you can reach other money goals. And like Vanessa was asking, if we're thinking about debt, then now that I built the self-trust of reaching my money goal for the dream vacation, now I can start paying off debt, because now you trust yourself that you can do it. You reached a goal, now you can reach another. Let me know if you have any questions. But increasing your income will definitely help you move the needle a lot faster. And then we're coming to the last one. And we're talking about, someone mentioned in the chat, deals. So yes, deals, discounts, cashback, reward programs. And I added open table here, which is a point system. And I learned this from Vanessa, actually. She took a trip to Guatemala, and I think it was like cents that you paid for it. So guess what I did? Now, every time I go to a restaurant, 69 cents, okay? That's what Vanessa paid to go to Guatemala per night for her hotel. And when I learned that, I said, okay, so now every time I do a reservation for a restaurant, that's exactly what I do too. So I'm accruing points through Open Table. And that is so easy because you're already going out to eat. Then why not choose one that's already in that system that they have and get points, right? Yeah, Vanessa. Okay, so that's one. And then I wanted to add like credit cards here because it is a game changer. And it's like the sign-on bonuses that they have. So for example, there's one, it's like Chase United. It gives you like 90K miles sign-on bonus. And so whenever you use that card, you're getting miles every single time. What I would say is whenever you are choosing a credit card, make sure that it's around your lifestyle and what would be beneficial for you. So one is, do you want miles or do you want cash back? Okay, so be careful with which one you choose. The other one is the Amex Blue Cash Preferred. That gives you 6% back on groceries. And that's already money that you're spending every month because we all buy groceries, and you get 6% back every single time. So why not take advantage of that credit card and then you pay it off? You're not accruing debt or anything. A tip I am going to give you, though, is if you do not have a healthy relationship with credit cards, I would stay away from them because you might get the bonus, the sign-on bonus. But if we're accruing debt and we're not paying it on time, then it defeats the purpose of why we signed up on the first place. And then the other thing is deals. So I recently learned that well, not that I learned, like I knew, but I didn't go there. So I went to Puerto Vallarta, and for New Year's, we were having a dinner, and there was a couple next to us that was telling us all about the Costco deal. So they got the same trip that I got for less. So look at like Costco deals and stuff like that. And then, do you shop trips through the airlines or Expedia? When I started, I did Expedia. It was what I was comfortable with, what I was familiar with. But now I have moved to what is like, so I have a reward program with United, and when I book directly with United, I get miles in that way. So I'm using the portal of United right now. But when I started, I was using Expedia. And I'm being very loyal to United right now. So I'm not completely saving all the time with airlines, but it gets me very anxious sometimes when I need to move a date. And if I do it through Expedia, their customer service isn't the best. So to help me, I do spend a little bit more on flights because it just helps my anxiety. But I do get miles whenever I buy through them. Yeah, yeah. So it can be very different on the flights. Some could be lower, and then definitely on the more expensive side. But it do what works for you and what you need for yourself. Avoid third-party purchasing for flights or hotels if you can, right? Yeah, exactly. Because if something comes up, sometimes they just don't help you. I did have an unfortunate news that happened to me last year, and I did through hotels.com, and they were able to get me my money back, but sometimes they don't. So yeah, I avoid third-party purchasing, but that's how I started. At first, I was like, anything to save a buck. But also, if something happened, then I might lose everything too. But I do stay away from those. Love that. Any other ones, any other deals that you may use, drop them in the chat. I'd love to know. And then we'll start on the Q&A. Do you purchase insurance? Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And it is playing with fire sometimes. Sometimes if it's too much ahead of time, then I do, just to be safe, because I don't know what's going to happen in 9 months, what's going to happen in a year. And then when like COVID was a thing, I mean, it is a thing, but when it was more like we didn't know what was happening, I was doing those things. So yes, to more directly to your point. Any other questions? What are people thinking about this year? Yeah, Rakuten, and you accumulate into gift cards. I love that. There's a lot out there. Thank you, Vanessa, for sharing that. Any trips that have already been scheduled? I'm like, nosy, where are y'all going? Oh my gosh, yes, Vanessa going to Utah, which is her 41st, 41 state. I love that. Epic. A Pokemon event is taking me to New York again, so I'll be there in July. Oh my God, you're going to Peru? Oh, a group trip. I love that. Oh my goodness. Making memories with friends. I freaking love that. Yes, take us with you. Oh man, I have a few group trips that I'm like eyeing. People that I know that are putting them on. I'm like, oh, I want to go. That does sound amazing. Oh my goodness. Do you post them on Instagram? Just saying. I'm like, what are you doing next month? I want to see your photos. Any other questions? Drop them in the chat. This was amazing. Yeah. What if I feel my paycheck is not enough to save for travel because duh, bills, and not earning enough yet? Then I would say starting a side hustle, one that you can start, meet your goal, and then leave it. Or if you're thinking long term, then choosing something that's gonna work for you and honing in on that to bring in extra income. Or negotiating your salary is also a huge one. But I would say if what you are earning right now and you're living paycheck to paycheck, I would say that it may be time to increase your salary, because this is only one goal, right? That you want to save for your dream vacation. But then it's like, okay, but Orlenda, I also have debt. But Orlenda, I also have kids. But Orlenda, I also have this. And so you're fulfilling all of those, or maybe you want to start in those things. Increasing your income will allow you to also have fun. And that's what I would love for you to do, is to increase your income and have more cash in order for you to concentrate on the fun things that you want to do, like travel the world. Ooh, okay, I want to follow you. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for joining. Um, you can find me at Pero I Can Do It Too. If you have questions, this is my email. Feel free to come over to my website and read my blog. I am posting like very consistent and talking about travel, which is how Vanessa found out about the tips and stuff like that. And so I'd love to have you. And also I'd love to follow you if you drop your handle on the chat. This was so much fun. Elizabeth said these were all great tips. When I first started traveling, I was stuck on a toxic mentality of I deserve this, and boy, did I run up my credit cards. I know, and finally paid them off. Congrats on paying them off. Yes, that's exactly how it starts. Some of my credit card debt was because I was going on trips I couldn't afford. Yeah, I love that. Congratulations on becoming debt free. This was so fun. Thank you so much for having me, Vanessa.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing all of these gems and making us feel safe when talking about money, because that's one of the things too in our community. Sometimes we don't open up about how much we're spending, how much we're saving, how much we're in debt. Like those are topics that usually are not talked about. So I am happy that you provided this space for us to be able to engage in this conversation and not feel judged or shameful of that.
Yeah, a lot of people are in debt. We're just like not talking about it. And so it feels very like we're in just this circle and it's just me and I'm the only one that doesn't know how to manage my money. But I can tell you, 56% of Americans do not have a savings of $1,000. So if something were to happen and you need to cover that, it's with credit card. And so, yeah, absolutely. And I also want you to walk away with that adding fun to your budget helps you build trust to reach the money goals that you want to do. It's not always being restrictive, or how Elizabeth was saying, like that mentality of just like being toxic and then using our credit cards and stuff like that. But you can definitely like build a self-trust and pay off the debt and go on your dream vacation. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can do both.
absolutely. I feel for me, like I moved from public school to private school because they gave me a 20% raise. And then every year since I have been there, they have given me a 6% raise to all the teachers. So I'm like, oh, great. But I feel because I'm pouring into my business, I'm always left at the end of the day with zero or
Mm,
negative. So it's
yeah,
not that I'm using it to ball out of control. I'm actually putting it in the business. So it's like that slippery slope. How
yeah,
much is an investment and how much is like just me spending recklessly because it's the business? You know what I mean?
yeah. And having that kind of like separating it a little bit, because what I wouldn't want you to feel is that, oh, I'm not good with money because I'm left with nothing. What in reality is, yo, I'm building a business and I'm investing it back, which is going to give you a return and investment too, right? Yeah.
That is the goal.
Girl, it's coming, okay? And the other thing is sometimes um the world like pushes us, the universe pushes us to pivot, and sometimes is a blessing in disguise. And I'm talking about I was just laid off last year and I went full time on my money coaching business. But for you, Vanessa, it was reminding me that you were waiting for something and you're like, you know what, I'm going to apply for this job, and you got it, and now you're increasing your income.
Mhm.
So the universe always got our back.
I know. I
Always.
believe that. That's why I don't give up because I'm like, I don't know when it's gonna happen, but I know it's going to happen. So
Yes.
I'm like, hang on, hang on.
Hang on. I love that. Yeah,
Yes.
I
Well,
love it.
thank you, Orlenda, and everyone who joined us from different parts of New York, right? Thank you. We had all the way from Yonkers to Brooklyn to, all of my New Yorkers here. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much, Orlenda, for this expert session. I mean, I love it when you guys from the community come and share your knowledge with our community. And yes, let's keep working. Thank you, Elizabeth, working on building healthy relationships with money. Thank you so much. And we're gonna upload this so you can watch it again and slowly learn the steps and all that. Thank you, Orlando. I really appreciate you for coming in here. And to everyone, un millón de gracias. Hope you found this event informative and that we were able to ignite your curiosity for creating a plan and going on your dream vacation. So my question to you is, where will you be in 9 months?
Yeah,
Where will you be? 9 months, we are in March. Where will you be by December? Ooh, that's a good one, right?
that is a good
I want to be in
one.
Brazil, waiting for the new year in Brazil.
I love that. Oh my God. I'm gonna say Japan. I'm gonna say Japan because that's what I wanted to do this past December. I'm gonna say Japan.
Yeah, good, good, good. What about you guys?
I love it. Thailand.
Thailand, manifesting. That's what I'm talking
Mhm.
about. I
We're big
love that.
manifestors here.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
I wholeheartedly believe in that. So you're
Mhm.
in the right place here.
You truly are. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my
Well, thank you everyone again. Los adoro. Thank you for being here and always supporting me. And I'll see you at the next one.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for joining.
Oh, how cute. You see the balloons?